I'm Ed Musio. As my best-selling book, Iterate, gained popularity, managers and leaders started asking me for tips, actions they could take to help make their management teams better. So I created this series to help you and your team iterate and improve, one small step at a time. This episode is Get Over Getting Consensus. Does everyone have to agree before a decision can be made? Managers who try to work like this have good intentions. It's both better and more pleasant to get people's buy-in instead of forcing them to comply. But commitment and agreement are not the same thing, and waiting for agreement often equals waiting forever. Instead, here's one small step to move decisions forward with maximum commitment, but without requiring full agreement. Make consultative group decisions in which everyone is heard and everyone understands the rationale, but not everyone has to agree. It may sound odd, but this really isn't that complicated. Let's get into the particulars. First, you'll need to have a clear decider. Usually this is the boss, but sometimes it's a technical expert. The key is just that everyone knows who it is before any conversation starts. For now, I'll assume it's you, but you can also facilitate someone else in the role. The decider's first job is to start by learning. Take pains to learn everything possible about what the rest of the group thinks. That includes which options people prefer, why they prefer them, and the potential consequences they see from the options they don't like. When you're sure you have all the information, decide, and then communicate both the decision and its rationale. That means being clear both on what you're deciding and why you're deciding it. Mention what you're weighing most heavily and what you've learned that doesn't concern you. Don't minimize anyone's contributions. Just describe your own thinking as clearly as you can. Finally, have a disagree and commit contract. I list this one last, but actually, it goes first. Your group needs to have a general policy in advance that everyone fully implements all decisions, even when they don't personally agree. One way to say it is like this. In this organization, we win by taking turns doing things we disagree with instead of sabotaging decisions we don't like. Sooner or later, it's everyone's turn to disagree and commit. By making your decision this way, you leave with everyone being and feeling heard and valued, but without having to satisfy every person's every worry just to move forward. Here are the biggest pitfalls. First, it's tempting, but don't ever fall back on voting or debate. Polling people sets up vote trading and politicking. Verbal competitions where the loudest or the best argument wins emphasize form at the expense of content. Focus on getting the best information you can and making the decision you think is right. Second, watch out for deciding too soon or too late. Don't rush a decision that's not needed in real life because a meeting is about to end, especially if you don't have all the data. And yet, don't let anyone monopolize information sharing so much that it slows the group down. Balancing between information gathering and speed is part of the decider's job. Third, be careful about deciding with the wrong group. Involve only people with expertise on the issue or exposure to the results. Just wanting to be in the room does not qualify someone to participate. Try to keep to a total of 9 people or less, even if it means appointing representatives or breaking down decisions into smaller components. Finally, never say, "This decision is final." It's not. Every decision gets fully implemented, but as problems are discovered, new data can be reviewed, and anything can be changed. Many decisions that are the best step today will need revisiting tomorrow. So, how will you know if it worked? Mainly, you'll start seeing decisions made clearly and implemented fully. It's also a good sign if you see more downstream communication of the reasons for decisions. Things like people telling their subordinates why the management team did this or that. And as they get more comfortable with the process, you'll notice that people bring better data and communicate it earlier and more clearly. This way of making decisions is what I call the group consultative process. It's at the core of group decision-making, which is one of the 5 key practices of iterative management. And the best way to start is to start. Before your next decision, make sure your decider is identified and your disagree and commit contract is defined. Have the decider learn as much as possible, then announce a clear decision and the rationale behind it. Get this right, and you'll find both the quality of your decisions and the completeness of their execution will rise, making it much easier for your team to iterate.